Hey, I'm on the edge of my seat here, back again with another brand new video, and today I will be no damaging all the boss fights in Roblox Eyes.
I'll get the money!
Bye.
It should be stated that this is not the Judge Eyes you're familiar with, or as it's known nowadays, the Judgment you're familiar with. This is Roblox Eyes, and in Roblox Eyes, Roblox Yagami can tap into the speedy abilities of Accelerate. However, if you are someone who watched Ben 10 in Spanish, that name makes no sense because this Accelerate in English, that's like the letters X, L, R, 8. Well, the last one's a number, but when you say all those letters and numbers together, it sounds like you're saying the word accelerate, which is spelled with an A. I'm not going to spell the whole word because I don't know how to spell it. But in Spanish, that translates to XLR8. And when you say those letters and numbers together, that doesn't sound like accelerate at all in Spanish. In fact, I don't even know how to say accelerate in Spanish right now at this current time, but in 30 minutes I might be able to. But also another difference between Judge Eyes and Roblox Eyes is that the Roblox avatar is something which the previous Roblox protagonists, they could tap into it like inherently from like positive vibes. However, Yagami has actually drawn his Roblox avatar from negative vibes because this Roblox power, it's very strong, but it also alienated him from a lot of people that he cared about. So it was a very depressing story. This is a much darker story than the previous Roblox entries. Also, I should mention that I recorded this gameplay on the Steam Deck, and it was an insane hassle, and I do hope that my strategies in this first round are self-explanatory enough. I'm keeping it kind of simple, like, you know, just like I haven't entered heat mode yet. I'm just kind of doing these normal combos, and some of these combos are kind of luck-based. Like, I almost got hit there, but didn't, and they were going to do the QTE, but yeah. The way I recorded this game, and also modded it so that I have Roblox here, I had to turn my Steam Deck into a Windows deck. So if you're planning on playing Roblox Eyes on your Steam Deck, but you want to play it on like the Linux-based system, like just the normal out-of-the-box Steam Deck, that's going to be impossible. At least because trying to mod Judgment or Roblox Eyes on the Steam Deck alone, like the Linux browser, just without any modifications, it was just straight up impossible. It was possible to modify Yakuza Kiwami 2 on the basic Steam Deck. That is possible to mod, but Judgment has like more security measures, more DRM stuff that I think is just screwing up the whole pod. It definitely made modding the game harder for the modders. I mean, I don't know how to mod myself aside from inserting mods into games. And here I just kind of did a quick little heat action combo, and here in Roblox Eyes and Judge Eyes and Judgment, I mean Judge Eyes and Judgment are the same game, unless we're talking about Judgment Remastered, which is a bit of a different version, and Roblox Eyes does take more from Judgment Remastered than it does from the original Judge Eyes. So that should be kept in mind. But yeah, no, I pretty much like changed the Linux system into a Windows system, and I deleted my entire third hard drive by accident because I didn't think that turning it into a Windows installing system would delete the entire hard drive that held the Windows machine, but it did. So I lost pretty much 1.5 terabytes of knowledge. So now it's gone. I've suffered quite a bit to bring Roblox Eyes to life. So if I may talk strategy for a bit, in the beginning you can kind of combo enemies with like short quick combos, and then after I did like a few short quick combos, which to be fair you could kind of get hit in between those combos, but for the most part they don't because enemies are kind of docile. And like the first 5 to 10 seconds of the match, or well, 10 seconds is a little excessive, more like 5 seconds. And then after that, I decided to go for the heat action where I'm in the blue heat mode. Being in the blue heat mode the blue style is important. This is the one which Yagami summons Accelerate for. The red style, he summons the abilities of forearms. You know, it's kind of very strong, very powerful. That's why when you press the light attack button once, you strike twice, because he's summoning the ability of forearms, which, since even in his Roblox mode, Yagami still only has 2 arms, so he kind of has to like replicate the ability of forearms by attacking twice when you press the attack button once. It's a little hard to get used to, but once you are used to it, you pretty much have the full disposal of forearms abilities. And when it comes to juggling boss fights, if you have a partner with you trying to go down, you know, like, no, not go down that way, but like, they're like destroying the enemy with you, it's going to make juggling the boss fight horrible. Because, you know, in order to juggle a boss fight, it needs to be a very specific rhythm you have to do. And if you don't do that specific rhythm, it kind of gets screwed over. And when your friend comes in to punch the enemy, their punch screws up your rhythm. And it's just like, you just can't predict it, you can't really vouch for it, you just kind of have to get lucky that like your partner's dead while you're doing your juggle combo. You know, like, you know, temporarily dead, because no one ever dies in Ben 10, and like, while our friends here haven't fully unleashed their Roblox prowess yet, in fact, Kaito here doesn't unlock his full Roblox powers until the very end of the game. It's kind of part of his arc of like coming to accept himself and like his previous flaws. It's a very emotional arc. But for the whole game, at least in this one, before we get to the sequel, he is just kind of normal Kaito. But he does evolve into a stronger person by the end. Oh yeah, but one little tech thing I want to point out is that whenever you activate your super heat mode, which is thanks to the Omnitrix, which Roblox Yagami has partial control over, and you know, you do your combos faster, you know, you're able to switch between them faster, because when you don't have your heat mode turned on, like your X mode, extreme heat mode, call it what you like, if you don't have that turned on, then like changing between styles is a lot slower, and also you don't change as fast when you're doing certain things. And here I'm going to do this little tiger jump there, boom, pop, very nice. And here that kick should have killed him, but it didn't. For all these boss fights except for 3, I will be playing with attack level 0, but yeah, the tech thing. So if you're attacking a boss fight while you're in extreme heat mode and you immediately switch to another style, in like that little changing style animation, it is kind of like slowed down. Not as slowed down as something from the style change animation in like Yakuza 0, but it is in kind of a little slow break for you to get used to changing styles. In between that, if you still have some heat, you can do a heat action, and that's how I was able to do the heat action where me and Kaito like beat him up in the air. And here I'm doing a juggle combo, kind of fancy, so you know, kind of do a little combo at the beginning, I jump over him, and then while I'm jumping over him, I switch styles, I activate extreme heat mode, and when you do that, the enemy is kind of stunned for a bit, so you can do like the special combo, but only twice, with the red style, and then for the blue style, you can do the special combo 3 times, and then from here, it is kind of luck-based whether he gets juggled or not, but I was able to defeat his entire health bar with that juggle combo, and I do hope that was followable. And there could have been a better way to end it, but the guy died before I could have done anything more fancy. And here we're moving on to the next phase. These sort of Roblox videos, I definitely like to do them like years or like a long time since like the original game that the Roblox one is based on, because here I'm doing something which I only really start doing near the end of my Judge Eyes video, where a lot of the time if I want to do this heat action, I just spam it at the beginning, but here I kind of delay it by doing some combos with the other styles and switching immediately between them, just kind of to, you know, increase the damage before I do that blue heat action style. And I get better at it throughout this video. Like, I definitely start doing a little bit more complex combos as I start going along. Well, not too complex. In fact, this combo is definitely one of my most complex in the video. But I do another one, so, you know, be on the lookout for that. And, you know, I'm just very glad that I actually had some heat left over before I entered the second phase, because if I had no heat left over, then I wouldn't have been able to do things the way I'm doing it right here. And this drunk heat action, I like doing it, though it does take a lot of time away from the fight, you know, just kind of increases the length because it is such a lengthy heat action animation. I forgot to mention the Achilles heel of the Steam Deck, by the way. The reason that you can't really play Roblox Eyes on an original Steam Deck just normally on the Linux-based system is because the Linux-based system can't normally open exe files, and you need an exe file to modify Judgment. So there is a workaround for it, and that workaround on Linux does work for games like Yakuza Kiwami 2, but it doesn't work for Judgment because there's just an extra step which requires you to do something else, which I just couldn't figure out over like the course of like 9 days or something. So it was just like, I don't know, I asked a lot of people to help out, and it went nowhere, so I just did the easy thing and turned the Steam Deck into a Windows deck. And if you have the Windows system on the Steam Deck, that does allow you to open exe files because, well, you can pretty much do whatever you can on the Windows, like ISO, yeah. But I did like kinda install the mod on the Linux-based system, but there were 2 issues. 1, Roblox Yagami didn't appear. 2, whenever an enemy hit me, the game would just flat out crash. Also, there's just some weird frame rate issues when like playing the game on the Linux-based system. But before I talk about that, we have the first Toru Higashi fight, and this is another character who doesn't unleash his Roblox prowess until the next game, because he's still struggling with a lot of this one, a lot of drug addiction, a lot of different like really mature topics, which I do think this game handles pretty adaptly, but right now he just hasn't fully unlocked his Roblox avatar. So my beginning combo there managed to actually stun every single enemy in that group. You can like see it there. When like I finish my combo, every enemy's like taken aback and they're kind of stuck in that position for like 3 seconds. And there's like maybe 1 or 2 enemies that are being attacked by Kaito, which, you know, they're not stunned, they're just being hit. But it kind of works the same as them being stunned because it gives me enough time to run to the wall, my blue style, and do the heat action. Then from there I activate my extreme heat mode to do some extreme heat mode actions, and I was kind of sloppy with it. And then I did the heat action where me and Kaito like beat him up, you know, 1-on-1, well 2-on-1, but I didn't really want to do that heat action specifically because sometimes when you do a quick style change like that, sometimes you end up doing the heat action where Roblox, Yagami, and Kaito kind of do like a drop kick on one single enemy, or just like, no, it's Yagami does a drop kick on one enemy and Kaito does a drop kick on another enemy. It's like, you know, it's like a 2 enemy heat action. And it's kind of random whether you do the heat action where it's one character, like where it's like one character getting hit by 2 characters, or if it's 2 characters attacking 2 characters. I don't know the exact conditions to like activate the second heat action I mentioned. And here I tried to do a fancy combo, but I kind of ruined it by, you know, doing that. It would have been better to switch to the blue style and do like the special like combo. And also Kaito coming in and attacking for a bit kind of ruins it in the end. But I did deal a ton of damage anyways with that kind of sloppy like extreme heat mode combo. And here I should have followed through with the other attack, but Higashi is also kind of a tricky bastard because sometimes he'll like immediately attack even if he looks stunned. And I'm just getting a ton of lucky hits here. Like when I did the little sliding move, that had iframes, so I got really lucky there. Also, check this out. Yeah, like that tiger drop synced up perfectly. Like he did it right at the end. I took him out right at the end. Very nice. And here we're going to be dealing with Satoshi. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. In fact, I don't even think I'm pronouncing Satoshi correctly. And here I'm going for like another little combo, and here I'm going to get a little experimental with it. I'm going to do the 3-hitter combo. And this one's kind of experimental, because look, that enemy could have hit me, but then I went under his punch, and he didn't hit me. Here I'm going to go for a little taunt heat action. And now I want to talk about the frame rate problem I mentioned before. So if you're playing this game normally on Linux, the Steam Deck, it's a very powerful device, and one of its best features is that it is very modifiable. So if you don't like the way a certain thing works, there's probably a way to get around that certain thing, like installing Windows. That solves some things like the frame rate problem with Judgment here. So when you're playing with the Steam Deck normally, it doesn't really like to do a straight 60 FPS, because whenever I try to like run Judgment normally, it kind of ran at like a shaky 60 FPS, like very unstable 60 FPS. And even like the 60 FPS I have now on Windows isn't perfect, but it is a big improvement. And really the most stable the game ever got was at like 45 FPS, and it still didn't feel fully stable. I don't know, like the Steam Deck has this whole thing with 45 FPS, you know, don't do 30, don't do 60, do the in-between. The God of War games on their original home consoles, like God of War 1, 2, and 3, all ran at somewhat of a 45 FPS marker. And if I'm not mistaken, Metal Gear Solid 4, whenever you climb ladders, ran at 45 FPS, kind of, or it ran at another frame rate. I'm not exactly 100% sure what frame rate it ran at. And here I'm just trying to do those little combos where I'm constantly switching between like my special attacks between different styles, though it is a little more beneficial to add in some light attacks when you're doing these sort of combos against the crowd. And I do end up doing those sort of combos later on in this video, so, you know, keep an eye out for them, because I'm not sure if I'm actually going to explain how I do it. I might float over my head when I'm describing another thing that's not related. And see, this is the heat action I was talking about before. Sometimes when like you quickly switch between styles and you press the heat action button, sometimes you'll do the heat action where it's just on one enemy, or sometimes you'll do this heat action. So that's the one I wanted to do in the previous battle, but I didn't. So I instead did it in this battle. Very nice. And I mentioned this in my previous like Judge Eyes video. But yeah, most of the boss fights here are stealing movesets from other boss fights. Higashi is not one of them, except in his second fight. In his second fight, he is stealing a knife moveset from I forgot who. And this dude here is stealing a moveset from Awano, who's also stealing kind of a moveset from Watase. But Awano kind of modified the Watase moveset with other moves, like by stealing by Kiryu. And here, Kaito is stealing his moveset purely from Kiryu. And he continues to do that in the Kaito files, but he starts to add a little bit more of his own flair. In fact, once he like achieves his Roblox status, he does get access to new moves, which Kiryu did not have back in like Yakuza 0, or even Roblox Kiryu had back in Roblox 0. So, you know, Kaito does improve, especially his combo game. And see, here's another combo I'm going to do. So I use like the big bicycle to kind of get him on the ground. Once he's on the ground, I start to go here. And then once we get to this point, I switch to the style to do that combo. I jump over him and then boom, boom, boom. We're going to do a heat action here. Why we do the heat action here is because once this heat action is over, Kaito is going to get up and activate his heat state. And while a lot of the other boss fights, when they activate their heat state, they do like this big telegraphed attack, Kaito just straight up comes out swinging. In fact, Kaito's actually very smart because he catches you off guard with how fast he attacks you. And here I'm going to do a heat action based on elevation. And you don't always get this advantage, you know, so readily like this. So it's, you know, it's nice to take advantage of it. In fact, this is the only time I do that specific heat action in this video. And now here, my goal is to build heat. And one cool way to build heat is this move right here. The guard break, you know, by charging up your first like heavy attack. And whenever Kaito like finishes that 4-hit combo, that's a good time to try it out, because sometimes you try it out and it doesn't work. In fact, once you do like that big flux fixture move once, don't try to do it immediately after, because Kaito will like immediately recover. You have to kind of like stagger it out by doing something else, and then you return and do this again. If you do this twice in a row, it won't work. Like the enemy will just hit you. And here, since I got a lot of heat back, I'm going to go boom. I'm going to go in for the... That's not how a slap sounds. Then I'm going to kick him in the nuts, and that ends the fight. So yeah, also another issue of the Linux Steam system was that there would have been no good way to record the game. But before we get to that, I'm going to explode everyone here. So the extracts in the original like Judgment and Judge Eyes, I never really used all that much, just because they didn't know how they worked, and also I just didn't want to break the game or whatever. But for here, this fight is rather excessive with its crowd, and just like Awano's like fighting style mixed in with the crowd is just a complete nuisance. This dude just keeps rushing in from halfway across the map to like attack me. And yeah, I definitely used my heat mode a little dangerously there, but I also wanted to like, kind of do some furniture combat, because I don't really do the furniture combat all that much, so this is kind of the one rare time I'm going to be using furniture against the enemy. It will happen again, just not all that often. And yeah, thanks to that explosion, we've pretty much gotten rid of most of the enemies here. And once you like get rid of all the enemies, then you attack Awano here, or Satoshi, boom, transition.
You guys sleeping on the job?
Also, you've probably noticed it by now, but I am getting hit a lot, but it's because in Judgment specifically, and Roblox Eyes specifically, once you activate your extreme hit mode and an enemy hits you, it doesn't count as damage. They got rid of this in Lost Judgment and Lost Roblox, but for now, I can take advantage of this and get a little bit more risky with the combos, and I just feel like this is the only time I'm allowed to really do this, because why play the original Judgment like it's Lost Judgment when I'm going to be playing Lost Judgment / Lost Roblox later on in like 6 months or something? So, I mean, you're gonna get Lost Judgment gameplay once I'm playing Lost Judgment gameplay again. So why try to replicate that style here when this is a different game? That's just the way I see it. I mean, I'm still doing more juggles, but they're different types of juggles because the gravity in this game is a lot heavier than its sequel. And also, to get back to the thing I was talking about, the recording. Also, here's I do something really cool. I knock him back, he's stunned, an enemy tries to grab me, I avoid that. And then since he's still stunned, I can go and grab him again. Splendid timing, got really lucky with that one. Like, it is strategy, but sometimes your strategy can kind of get the best of you and like not work. And yeah, things are just working out really well. I mean, my partners here are kind of stepping in a little too much, but also stepping in at just the right moments. It's kind of a weird mix of stepping in that they're doing, a lot of stepping. So let me step back to what I was talking about with recording the game. So previously there was this like Steam app or like Linux app called Recapture, which I could like record gameplay on the fly. However, the Steam Deck had an update, like an iOS update, and now that app just does not work at all. So I was pretty much like left without a single way to record the game except through the Elgato. So I recorded some footage on the Elgato, but it just did not look good. And now on Windows, okay, and see, that's another thing. So you can like install OBS on like the Linux desktop. It just, when you play a game on the Linux desktop version of the Steam Deck, it just does not run nearly as well. And the Windows desktop definitely runs games better because it also gets rid of like the Steam Big Picture mode. So like you're gonna have to delete everything to get to that point. Also, check this out. I can't say the Windows 10 experience is perfect on the Steam Deck. That's another thing. I'm using Windows 10 because I've heard bad things about Windows 11, and those bad things are I don't know. I'm not an expert on it. I'm just sticking on Windows 10 because I installed the Windows 10 ISO and all the drivers necessary to make it work, and it's been working out pretty decently for me. I've been able to record this footage. I did run into some issues later on, which I will elaborate on later. But the one thing I want to mention right now is that chases run like complete ass on Windows. They actually ran better on like the original Steam Deck Linux thing. Also, check this out. I'm going to be saying check this out quite a bit because not all the songs I use are copyright claimed, so I can kind of get away with it. And here I'm going to start off with this little combo here with like the red style, blue style, and then I'm going to activate heat mode. And I think this is probably like my best crowd management in the entire video because once I'm done like, you know, with my combos here and I decide to actually do a heat action, I will have eliminated every single participant aside from Higashi. If that's how you pronounce Higashi. And it's just like, you know, like, I mean, Kaito's definitely helped a ton, but like, you know, once here, it's just like, boom, boom, I have to defeat one more person, and then there's only 3 people on the field, and this heat action only deals damage to 3 people, and once I do this heat action, the only person who's alive, or, you know, not standing, is Higashi. So once I do this heat action, everyone else has been eliminated, and that's why I think it's the best combo in the video in terms of like managing the crowd. I mean, I do some other combos which are a little more efficient for one-on-ones, but like here, I like annihilated Higashi, and I will say I do find it a little tough to deal with Higashi when I don't have heat, because it's like, you know, you do have kind of a little nice bread and butter move where like whenever Higashi's like trying to get up, you can kind of get him with a boom boom, charge, and then we go into the QTE from there, and that QTE is stolen from the final Kanai fight in Yakuza 5, if that's how you pronounce his name. I do mispronounce a lot of the names throughout my series of Yakuza No Damages. Sometimes the Japanese just trips me up. As you look at this here, so I kind of got hit once, but then boom, he's like he's like guarding all my hits, but I get him with the heat action there. And there was something else I wanted to mention. I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, 2 things. So one, the heat auras are different in Roblox eyes. Higashi used to have a really like sinister purple aura in the original Judge Eyes, but once we went to the remastered version, it changed to a lighter blue for no reason whatsoever. Like a lot of the auras have been changed. Like compare and contrast my Judge Eyes video with my Roblox Eyes video there, and then you'll know. And the other thing you have to keep in mind is that Roblox Yagami was original. There were plans to like put him in Guilty Gear Strive, and I love how my move there landed him in the pond, because whenever there's like a water place that you can like hang out in, I love fighting in there. I love fighting in like the little pool in Kaito Files, and this like I don't think is as wait, this is pretty cool though, never mind. Like I'm just like, you know, fighting Higashi in like the water place. I like doing that. I think this is an improvement from my previous attempt where I didn't fight in this water place, because if there's a water place, we have to throw down in the water place, because like why not throw down in the water place? But to get back to my point, there were originally plans to put Roblox Yagami in Guilty Gear Strive. Like the dynamic intro in this fight where like he breaks the glass wall, that was the developers testing out how Roblox Yagami's like wall break move would work in Guilty Gear Strive. However, those plans never fell through. Maybe in the next Guilty Gear they'll add them, but for now it's over. And check this out. Another bread and butter technique in Roblox Eyes and Judge Eyes is just abusing enemies when they're on the ground, because whenever they're getting up and you attack them, that's like a guaranteed guard break most of the time. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but for the most part it does. And you can take advantage of that and do like the move which allows you to do the flux fixture. You could do like the basic bread and butter like square, hold triangle like that. And here I'm just going into heat mode immediately, and this fight I actually upgraded my attack level to level 1 just because this fight's kind of ridiculous, and also just upgrading my attack to level 1 just helped sync up the music better. so I just kind of went with it. So yeah, this is one of the 3 fights where I did upgrade my attack to level 1, but for every single other fight, I am playing on attack level 0. I don't know if I mentioned that it was level 0 before, because there is level 0, there's level 1, there's level 2, and there's level 3. And I do like that Judgment simplified like the attack upgrades into just levels instead of the whole, is it 100 points, is it 150 points, because that just got too complicated. Just, you know, like, I like how it simplified that down to like 3 separate levels. And well, Lost Judgment made it a little bit more complicated with like the 6 different levels, but it kind of operates the same-ish. Also, at no point did I buy the upgrade which like increases your flux fixture damage, so that can like get a little ridiculous, so I just don't have it. Yeah, there was something else I wanted to mention. Oh yeah, the music. So with the music, technically, the music I used like in my no commentary version, none of it like destroyed my monetization. The worst that it did was it forced me to share revenue with the original artist, which is like, that is a big improvement over not getting monetized at all. So yeah, and I think it's like this new system with YouTube this year. It's like called Creators Music, where you can actually like buy licenses to certain songs so that your video doesn't get like automatically demonetized. I mean, some songs will still do that, but the bar for what songs you can use has been opened somewhat. And I don't know why they started doing this now, but I do really like that they're doing it. It helps a ton with this sort of video. I tried to play it a little bit more safe with my song choices. Like, I still wanted some banger songs, but I didn't want my video, to my no commentary version, to be like completely demonetized, because like, I mean, I would just let the commentary version be the one that gets monetized, but here my no commentary version is sharing revenue, while this one will be completely monetized because I'm talking over the songs, which are kind of dangerous. But these dangerous songs are not as dangerous as the previous dangerous songs, and to be fair, I'm never in any real danger. Like, you know, I'm never in like a death danger. They're never gonna kill me, so I'm just chilling. So I like to elaborate on the flux fixture move because it has some really weird ass timing, but I learned a way to kind of do it consistently by the end of the video, and this is not the end of the video, so you're still going to see me mess up the flux fixture move every now and then in some of these future fights. Like, it's not a big deal, in fact it kind of helps me out sometimes, but yeah, like, it's weird. I don't know, because like, I swear, it's just like, it's been so long since I've played this game, so like returning to it, I had to like relearn how to do that move consistently, and this is how you do it. So like, basically, once you are committed to doing it, you know, kind of like you have the red glow around you and you're gonna do the move, stop holding down the attack button. What messed me up is that I would keep the attack button held down while the attack connected. If you do that, the timing for it is like way weirder. Let go of the attack button before the attack lands on the enemy, and all you do is just press the button when the square thing lines up. It's just more consistent that way, because like sometimes if you hold the attack button all the way down like all the time while you're doing the move, and then you try to like time it, you know, by hitting when the square thing lines up, it doesn't line up like that. Anyways, check this out.
Die, Yagami!
So standing in front of you is my beloved boss fight, Cane Man, and he is copying Someya's fighting style from Yakuza 6, the one where he has a sword. So he is a ripoff, but every single boss fight in like Judge Eyes, aside from like a few specific ones, aren't. And I've already like went over that little detail in my original Judge Eyes video, so just watch that one if you want more context on what I'm talking about. I don't know, it was kind of an annoying thing this game did. Maybe I'll complain about that in like a future Lost Judgment review. Also, I forgot to mention that there's 2 things which I'm going to be doing throughout most of my fights. And also, there's this like combo I'm doing here. And I love when the enemies start to do that glitch if you juggle them like too hard. But yeah, I hope that the combo I did there makes sense, because I don't know how to explain it at this current point. Because instead, I'm going to explain that for pretty much every fight, aside from a few exceptions, I'm always drunk, but not like completely drunk where I can do that heat action, because like that heat action can be a little bit not useful sometimes. So I'm drunk enough where I get benefits like, you know, my heat filling up faster from attacks. And I always have the Dancer Fighter X track like on me. And what this does is that it makes you almost as fast as you are in Lost Judgment, but like it makes your combos faster. And just like in this game where your combos are kind of slow by default, I kind of thought that, you know what, having the Dancer Fighter extract kind of active at all times just to make my combos faster is just, it's the way to go. Because, like, I mean, what's the point of doing it slow? I've already done my original video where I never used it, and since this is a new video, I decided, let's use it. You know, let's see what we can do with it. And here I'm missing a lot of Tiger Drop opportunities, but I always counter it with an attack. Like, I mean, I did, like, the big, heavy fly off the wall move, and there I did the grab fly off the wall move. And here I'm just trying to, like, you know, boom. I messed this one up because I'm still doing like the kind of awkward thing. I'm not letting go of the attack button. And like, hey, if you have a way that works for you, that's cool. But for me, what worked for me the best is like letting go of the attack button before the attack connects. It's just more consistent, typically in my experience. Now, you may have not noticed this, but 10 seconds ago, I was getting tased super hard in real life, and that's why I sounded like that. So, apologies for me getting tased extremely hard. And here, this is going to be like one of the combos I do without heat. And it's kind of crazy. I never thought to do it like this. So, you know, first start off, abuse them from the ground, do the little bread and butter move. But this time, we're going to jump over him. And like a lot of the time, the enemies, like, they just throw you off. But this one decided not to. And sometimes they'll just attack you at this point. But instead of following through here, I dodge. And dodging, like, pretty much lets me catch up with the enemy to do that. And then I jump off the wall, I grab him, end the combo like that. Bravo. Also, if you want to know what music I'm using in my videos, go to my no commentary version. In the comments, the pinned comment is me telling you all the songs I use in this video. I don't have that comment in my commentary version because, I don't know, I just don't feel like having it. So I probably should make a comment like that for the commentary version, but I guess I won't. So here I'm going to start off, going to do an easy combo on him, little heat action. Then I'm going to go to the motorcycles and grab one of those because the only time you're allowed to grab motorcycles is when you're in heat mode. When you're not in heat mode, Yagami will have this animation. Like, if you're still holding the motorcycle when you run out of heat mode, he'll just like kind of hunch back, like, you know, he he threw out his back, like, and it kind of like slows you down, and the enemy has an easy opportunity to attack you. So be careful not to have a motorcycle if you're close to running out of heat. You have to really plan that out. Yes, and there was something else I wanted to mention. This isn't really important until like way later, but Roblox Eyes actually does not let you skip the credits, which I like because Judgment and Roblox Eyes has some of the best credits in like the entire like Yakuza franchise. Like Judgment's credits and Dead Souls like credits really, like, you know, they're very emotional. Like, they really get to me. But another thing that really gets to me is one of the Achilles heels of the Steam Deck, another one. And it's that the Steam Deck only really outputs games at 720p. And yeah, this video does say 1080p, but that's a lie. That's a trick I did in Premiere. Like, this is recorded 720p footage. Like, that's really all you're allowed to record from what I know. Like, the Steam Deck can't really output anything higher than that. So I was just thinking about it. Like, the Steam Deck, I think it does have more power than a Switch, but a Nintendo Switch, when docked, can play games at 1080p. But the Steam Deck, I mean, unless I'm like not knowledgeable of a certain Steam Deck dock, from my knowledge, you can't output games at 1080p no matter what you do. So if you're playing Cuphead, I'm pretty sure that the Cuphead on the Switch is more graphically sound. Maybe? I mean, I'm no expert on it yet. There's still a ton I have to learn about the Steam Deck, but yeah. However, one advantage that I really like about the Steam Deck is that it kind of makes my PS Vita obsolete, because anything the PS Vita can emulate, I can emulate on the Steam Deck better. And I can actually record my footage in console on the Steam Deck. I can't do that on the PS Vita. I was actually wondering if I could... I jailbroke my PS Vita a while back, and like now there's no point for it, because everything I can do with a jailbroken PS Vita, I can just do with the Steam Deck without even jailbreaking it. So it's just like, you know, how am I gonna record NES games? I could just record them on the Steam Deck, like, really. So, and frankly, I'm pretty sure the Steam Deck is powerful enough to emulate PS Vita games, maybe. I mean, it does have a touch screen, though it does not have a back touch screen. Though, to be fair, I barely used the back touch screen, but I only really played like Metal Gear and Persona on the PS Vita, so, you know, I don't know. So here I'm using superpowers to defeat the Shono boss fight, because a Shono is a scientist. However, at this point, using his science knowledge, he's trying to take away some of our Matrix, like Omnitrix powers, and we're not going to let him. So we're unlocking more of the Omnitrix, unlocking fireballs, like laser beams, unlocking some of those Diamond Head, like, movesets. You know, I love Forearms, Accelerate, and Diamond Head. They are such cool aliens. However, there was this other alien. Here we're gonna go. Before I talk about that other alien, here we're gonna go for like a full kill on this Kuze copy. This guy is copying Kuze's pipe moveset from Yakuza 0. Boom, Tiger Drop, and here we're gonna do like a super extreme heat mode combo on him that instantly kills him. And to be fair, one of the extracts I used on him is an insta-kill extract, which kills everyone, except boss fights have certain like thresholds where they have to like enter heat mode, and you can't really like kill them beyond that. They have to do like the little heat mode animation before you can like fully kill them. And also, if they're a boss fight, it only eliminates like one entire health bar. So that if they have 3 health bars, it's only going to eliminate the 3rd one. But here I'm just getting really lucky because, I don't know, one of the coolest things you can do when you're in extreme heat mode and you have like a very limited amount. And look at that Tiger Drop. Boom. Check this out actually. So now I have to bring up Hoshino, except I'm not going to bring up Hoshino because we needed... Hoshino, is that even how you pronounce his name? Like, you know, it's spelled like H-O, like S-H-I-N-O. Like Hoshino, but like, am I even saying it right? I don't even know, but I'm not even talking about it. I'm talking about Cane Man Long Battle, the Cane Man Fiesta. I kind of hate the Cane Man Fiesta, so the way I'm going to be fighting Cane Man in these next 3 fights is very aggressive. I call it the fuck you style. I'm going to be very aggressive, very cheap. I mean, I don't know if I'd call it cheap, but like I'm going to like deal as much damage as possible before like my heat mode runs out. Just like constant barrage for these next 3 fights. Cause I just hate the way he fights. Like, I mean, I like the concept of like a Cane Man like long battle dedicated to the Cane Man, but I just do not fuck with these, like, you know, next 3 Cane Men. I only really fuck with the first and last fights you have with the Cane Man, but everything in between is just kind of cheap. Like, the styles he copies are extremely annoying. He's, like, copying, like, Nishitani's moveset, and it's just worse here. Like, it's just, like, he has this get-up move where you stand too close to him, so you can't really abuse him there. Like, this guy and the final boss are the only ones with get-up moves in the main story. There is like a side quest boss fight which also has a get-up move, but like besides that side quest boss fight, these are the only 2 boss fights with a get-up move, and it just makes things harder. It's just like, oh my goodness. And he's like so dodgy as Nishitani. I mean, he was also dodgy in Yakuza 0 and in Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise, but he was not as annoying as he was here. This is just like kind of unbearable, so that's why I like assault him incredibly heavily without remorse.
Buy me some time, boys. Do whatever it takes.
So as you can see here, the Cane Man fraud has sent out his boys after us, but we're not shy about using the extracts from the Omnitrix, so we're just going to immediately kill them in 1. Boom! And now I actually have to explain what's going on with Hoshino. So Yagami's not the only one that gets access to the Omnitrix, though to be fair, in the current story, he's really the only one who benefits from using the Omnitrix. Because Hoshino, he's a very smart lawyer, but he's not smart enough. So when he saw the description for gray matter, he actually became a little bit too obsessed with stealing the Omnitrix powers, but he stole them without knowing their full effects. And while he did get more intellect from harnessing the gray matter, like powers or whatever, the same way Yagami harnesses the crane, like speediness for accelerate, or like the forearm strength for tiger style, what Hoshino didn't know is that sometimes some of the Ben 10 aliens, they come with a certain like a strain of like DNA, and what he got was a sort of DNA from the gray matter like people from the quarter circle section of the Ben 10 galaxy. Look this up. And he actually inherited the misogyny strain from gray matter. So remember when Hoshino was acting kind of weird with Sayori, if that's her name, it's Sayori, right? In like Lost Judgment, when they were doing like all the hostess stuff, and he used to make a lot of like dumbass comments about women. It's kind of like, hey, why is he doing that? Well, in Roblox Eyes, I actually gave a further explanation. It's the gray matter misogyny strain. He inherited it like too strongly. Like, and if you want a further explanation on what these strains do, you're gonna need to understand what happens in the Animorphs children's book series, where children, if they touch a certain animal, they can become that animal. However, with whatever animal they become, they take on some certain inherent traits. There's this one kid who touches a hawk and becomes a hawk. However, another rule with the Animorphs rule set is kind of fucked up, because if you stay as that animal for longer than 2 hours, you're stuck as that animal and can never be human again. And this happens to one of the kids, and all his relationships go down the drain because he's no longer human. However, he's a hawk, and whenever he like flies around and there's a gust of wind, he's like, yeah, this is pretty sick. So like that's a pretty positive example of like that's a good trait, you know, like having a lot of dopamine rush to your brain when you like fly over a gust of wind. Frankly, that's not exclusive to hawks. Humans also get that rush of dopamine whenever you go like skydiving. I mean, some people hate that experience, but for other people, it's a pretty wonderful ride. And here, I didn't do the crane heat action until he entered like his second heat mode, just kind of to, I was kind of dealing with the crowd while also comboing him like super aggressively, because this is the gun phase, and like this gun phase I'm pretty sure is copied specifically from Andre in Yakuza 3 whenever he pulled out the shotgun, and it's one of the worst movesets in that game because it's just like he just shoots it without any tells. I'm like dodging all the time, abusing my iframes, just hoping that he never lands like a quick easy shot on me by accident. Like, I mean, sometimes he telegraphs his attacks like that, but sometimes he doesn't. Okay, so let's get back to the negative repercussions of abusing the anamorph movesets. So at one point, the gang, the dudes who could be anamorphs or whatever in those books, they inherit the power of the termite because they need to break into a wooden structure stealthily. However, what they didn't know is that the termite mindset is slavery. And they inherited like a slavery strain from the termites. But however, the slavery strain is incredibly strong. So like they have to like fight back that mindset in order to like stay human. In fact, most of the cast got PTSD from the experience, and they like haunted them ever since in like later books. That was like a series for children. And what does this have to do with Roblox eyes? I forgot.
Finally, I was getting bored of waiting.
Sugiura! Don't worry about me! Just go find Kaito-san!
You think I'd let you do that?
Very early on in this fight, Cane Man's gonna try to summon the abilities, or rather the spiritual prowess of Greta Thunberg. Try and like notice it. It happens very early on. In fact, it may already have happened, and this ends up failing on Cane Man's part because he's gonna get no damage incredibly hard in this fight. But besides that, like I fuck with this fight heavily. Now, the first moveset he has is a copy of the dual stick moveset, and the dual stick moveset has some shaky history because I think the first dual like stick moveset, like the Kali sticks, happens in Yakuza 2 from Hayashi, though I'm not sure if they're specifically copying Hayashi from the original Yakuza 2 or if they're copying like an updated model of the Kali sticks in a future entry. I'm actually not sure. And I definitely like the effort they put in Roblox eyes to make the shadows fit the Roblox model. And here I actually jumped over him and you know, like he didn't throw me off, but he did immediately go into like his super attack, but I tiger dropped it with the perfect timing and all that. Like it just gets kind of hard to tiger drop certain things in like Judge Eyes because your dodge ability in this first Roblox game, like Roblox Eyes, the dodges are kind of stiff. You know, you have like your first two dodges and then you have the roll, and the dodge was definitely a lot more stiff when we were playing this game at like sub 30 FPS on PS4. So like the 60 FPS definitely makes the dodging easier, but it still feels a little off. Like sometimes you have to like spam the dodge just to like abuse iframes. Like, I don't know, getting good with the dodge in this game is a little weird. Like the future game, like Lost Roblox, definitely improved the dodging a lot. And here, like I'm still not 100% sure how to use the flux fixture. Like I missed it. Like this is kind of a new technique where you kind of do like, you know, the quick attack back and then immediately turn around to like target the enemy. That's something which I'm still not 100% adapt with, but I did do it this time. And see, here I was worried that the enemy was going to throw me off, so instead of like committing to like a combo behind his back, I instead decided to actually do a heat action. I actually don't end up doing that heat action all that much. In fact, there's one heat action I do wish I included in this video, like just included. And it's the one where you jump over an enemy like behind them, because that's a different heat action, and I never actually did it in this video. And here, that tiger drop, I don't think I was close enough to like actually do that tiger drop against him, but Maybe it was just a weird camera angle, because it doesn't matter, I still did it. And like sometimes when you try to like go for the grab from the wall, the enemy will sometimes either block you too much or will like be way too defensive. And here we're going to end it.
What a waste.
I'm gonna need to shout out a couple people. In fact, a couple people, I mean 2 people, who have made this Roblox video possible. And those people are Adam for his amazing Yagami gaming skin, which you see on screen right now, and for Android the Merc, whose contributions to this series are just as valuable and will show up later in the video. You'll see what I mean. And here, I'm kind of being a little messy with Hamura. And like Hamura is a very dancey person. Like his original theme is a little more electronic, not so much guitar scary like some of the other themes in the game. So here I'm going for my more bread and butter combo after the tiger drop. I don't know, because Hamura is also copying his style from another game, Yakuza 5. Yahata? I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name. The guy who's bald and has like a scar on his face. His moves, like I don't know what it is, but like in this game he's easier to tiger drop than he was in like Yakuza 5. And here, once I jump over his back, it kind of gives me a little bit of time to do that. And once we reach this health threshold, we enter the QT, and this QT is pretty sick. We're doing a lot of things with the chair, flip, press the button, and the button is actually always B. I don't know, because like I've replayed this fight a couple times, and the reason I've replayed this fight a couple times is because I'm actually playing this game on Legend. And on Legend, it's kind of inconsistent throughout the series. In fact, in the very next game, if you play on Legend, it doesn't really change much aside from the actual difficulty, which is what I like. But in most Yakuza games, Roblox games, and in this spin-off, Legend means that if you fail a boss fight, it takes you back to your last save, not your last checkpoint. So if I fail this Hamura boss fight, and by fail, I mean get hit, what that means, tiger drop, very nice. See, it's like very easy, he's very predictable. You know, he has a nice rhythm to him, you can just like abuse him. And here I kind of messed up the flux picture, but whatever, because it's just another easy tiger drop. And okay, one thing I don't like is that they changed his heat aura in this Roblox Eyes remaster. Because in the original Judge Eyes, it was way more green. Which, you know, is good because he's the bad guy. And when I see green, a lot of malice gets up into like my brain, you know, like the malice strain. But here, he's less green, which makes him less villainous. And this guy is like a super villain, so that we shouldn't be doing that, is what I'm saying. Like that, I hope you understand where I'm going with that. So there was something else I was mentioning. I think I forgot it. But I remembered, no, this is not a new recording. This is the same recording, and I've remembered what I want to talk about. The Legend difficulty. So that previous section, the one with the Cane Men and Hamura, was one of the hardest sections for me to no damage, because every time I failed a single Cane Man section, I had to redo that long battle over and over again. Like that long battle, just like the way it's structured is so annoying. Same with like the final Shioya battle. Like, you know, it's just kind of structured in a way we have to like do the lock picking. No, like the Cane Man's kind of the worst of it. You know, you have to do the lock picking here. You know, you have to wait for a cutscene there. It's just like it takes so long, especially if I'm trying to get to like Hamura here. Now for Ozaki here, if that's how you pronounce his name, Ozaki, like Kojiro Ozaki. If his first name is even Kojiro, But yeah, no, this fight is not as bad because you can actually like save right before like this long battle starts, and this long battle is only really comprised of 3 enemy group encounters, and they're pretty small group encounters, so you just kind of defeat them, and like, you know, that's it. And look at this little glitch there where it just immediately transitions to him getting like there was one time where I got this like perfect tiger drop into this transition, but this transition also works out pretty well for me. But yeah, no, like, so it took me like straight up like 4 or 5 or 6 days because I was also on vacation then, and while I was on vacation I actually saw a black bear. It wasn't a cub, it wasn't large, it was a medium-sized black bear. Now I was able to no damage this encounter, but the hardest part of about this encounter is that there were hostages. However, we were playing on easy mode, so the black bear never went for any of the hostages. In fact, more hostages actually appeared around the bear in Tennessee to record it. And then the bear, even though it was on easy mode, it decided to activate its attack AI for a good 2 seconds because it got a little scared. There were some people with like sticks kind of banging near the bear, And then the bear decided to jump up. And oh yeah, this was on a mini golf course, which was right next to a cemetery. I don't know why the bear was looking for food around this area, because it was looking for food. It was scrummaging at the dumpster. But the most important thing is I was able to no damage this using my, well, just well-renowned no damage abilities. There was another word for that. It's like it's not status, because status, like, I mean, status is good for popularity, but it doesn't exactly 100% translate to skill, because, I mean, like, you know, I don't want to dog on popular people, but there are some popular people who aren't exactly the most skilled at what they do. Now, them getting to their popularity may be somewhat indicative of their abilities and skills, but not always. And here we have the Hangman. Now, I actually thought this guy went by a different name, but no, he goes by the Hangman. And his fighting style is, I forgot who, no, I think the first person to have this fighting style was a guy in Ishin, Kanai. However, Kanai's been replaced by someone else in the Ishin Kiwami. I don't know, Ishin Kiwami decided that, you know, we're finally going to release Ishin to a Western audience after, what, over 10 years? No, like 9 years or so, except this time we're not even going to give them the original game, we're just going to mess with it slightly. And you know, I'm actually kind of glad that they're at least slightly messing with the game and not like completely reworking it, but the slight messing around does kind of make it feel a little weird, because it's like this new version on PS4, is it gonna run at like 30 FPS? Because that would be a little ridiculous, because it's like, you know, you have the original Ishin, which still exists, and that runs at like a smooth 60 on PS4. So like if this new version runs at 30 FPS, it's just on PS4, it's gonna be like, bro, what are we doing here? But yeah, at the beginning of this fight, I used the lightning extract because I wanted to use that extract at least once throughout this video, because it's just like, I've never seen anyone actually use it, and to be fair, there's a good reason for it. It completely kills your juggles, because like once you like put the electric ability on the enemy, down to the ground they go, and that's pretty much as far as it goes. You can like just, you know, continually abuse the enemy while they're on the ground, but it's like, that's not really that much fun. But for a fight here that isn't all that much fun, I decided to go for the not that much fun approach. And then after that, I have this extract which like just makes me charge up my heat all the way to the max, and that lets me do this sick little heat action which depletes your entire heat bar when you do it once. And see, like, this heat action is designed in such a way that like is so screwy, because it's like, first off, you need to have all 8 heat bars like filled up, and once you do it, all 8 of them are gone. You know, I actually like the way Lost Roblox does it a lot better. Lost Roblox, just like, yeah, it will still take away all your heat, but you don't need like the full 8 heat bars to do it. However, in Lost Roblox, you couldn't just pull out the move whenever you wanted. However, in this game, you can pull it out whenever you want, as long as you have the complete full health bar. And here we have the final Matsugane Family no damage, and this is a second battle which I upgraded my attack to level 1, because this is like one of the worst fights in the game, just because like this guy is copying Nishiki's moveset from Ishin, and like that moveset's really fun to fight when you're fighting him one-on-one in Ishin, but when you're fighting him in the Dragon Engine at this point in time with a group around him and another boss also trying to kill you, it's incredibly annoying. Because it's like, I say the Dragon Engine at this point in time because I do think Judgment combat is some of the best combat in the series, but I still think it has a little bit of the Dragon Engine jank, which they didn't really fully get rid of until I'd argue Lost Judgment. And I actually wanted to make a video on that, and I'll make a video on that later. But yeah, we're gonna start off, you know, with the heat. I did like the 2 big special combo like heat action things with like the red style, the blue style, and then from there I kind of went for some crowd control. And I'm also drunk at this exact point, so I'm gonna do the drunk heat action. But yeah, like once I deplete all my heat, it's gonna be like straight going to the wall and doing like the wall jump heavy attack, not the wall throw or like the wall light attack, because if I try to do like the wall grab throw thing, the enemies just like clip me way too often, because like Ishin moveset here is way too aggressive. Like, he's just gonna get you, and sometimes he doesn't even like being grabbed, he'll just throw you off. Well, he doesn't throw you off, but he just blocks it. Once he blocks it, he like counterattacks. Like, I mean, it's like I nearly got hit there, but like I dodged at exactly the right time. Like, I can only really do the grab if like the Ishin guy's on the ground, because I do end up doing a wall grab at one point in this video, but not when Ishin guy is like standing up. We need to wait for Ishin guy to like take a bit of a nap, not a permanent nap, because a permanent nap means that the video's done and over. Well, not exactly, because he's actually the first boss I take out, and the pink man is actually the last one I take out. Once the pink man is down, this battle is over. Like, the heavy wall attack isn't even like 100% safe, which is kind of funny. because I know you could get hit with it, but it is a lot more safe. See, this is the one time I do the grab because the Ishin guy is on the ground, which gives me a little bit of safety, and Pink Man here is a lot more susceptible to being grabbed. And now here I used the fire extract just because I was interested in what it did. And I don't know if it's just the boss fights acting like this, but unlike the electric one, this one doesn't send the enemies to the ground. It just kind of stuns them for a bit while they're in the air. See, like I'm doing that whole combo and he's just like kind of stunned by the fire and decided not to attack me after I was done, which is, I'm very thankful for that. Like the electric one actually sends them to the ground for a bit. So I don't know if like them not being sent to the ground is like a boss fight thing or if it's like a fire thing. If someone could like inform me of that in the comments, that'd be really useful, and I would be thankful for it. Now here we fight Kuroiwa before he enters his Omega phase, and I'll explain the Omega phase later, but I started off with a normal combo, and there I was actually trying to grab a couch, but the targeting system actually went for Kuroiwa, and instead I do that heat action. And Kuroiwa is like a mirror match kind of. He has all your abilities, you know, he has all your like sort of counters, and that makes him a bit of a tricky pickle compared to like everyone else in the game. Once again, he has the get up attack when he's on the ground, so you have to watch out for that. Especially if you finish a heat action, he could either wait a bit before he does it, or you could do it immediately. You kind of have to be prepared for both scenarios. Like here, this is the one where he waits like 3 seconds before he does it, but the first heat action I did in this fight, he did it immediately, and I was ready for it. Boom! Like tiger dropping in this game is both super consistent and also a little wonky, because if you mess up the tiger drop, instead of doing like a straight kick like here you would do that kick, and that kick is annoying. Now at that point I wasn't trying to do a tiger drop, I was trying to do the drunk heat action here. I entered the fight all drunk because for this first phase I'm gonna play it a little safe, you know, kind of rely on building up. I'm not building up heat, I have a ton of heat to use for heat actions. I'm gonna delete most of this guy's health bar with tiger drops and a heat action, and then boom, we're gonna move on to the second phase, because in the second phase, I'm going to do something a little peculiar. Also, another thing you have to watch out about this guy, though, it's not really important in the first phase, because I did kind of like loop him just by keeping him on the ground, constantly like tiger dropping him when he gets up, you know, doing specific ground-based heat actions, or doing heat actions that are like really accessible, like the drunk heat action, which can happen whenever you want. I mean, it was kind of tricky though, because like the icon didn't always appear. But for this second phase, I'm going to try to do something which I tried to do with Higashi in like both of his fights, but I always failed because Kaito-san always got in the way. However, Kaito here is actually standing to the side, to the corner. He's letting me handle business, so I'm actually going to be able to fully realize the potential of the combo I wanted to do with Higashi. And here's what the combo is. I'm going to jump off the wall and do the light attack instead of the heavy attack, because the light attack, 9 times out of 10, will stun the enemy, and then it'll let you do this for a bit, where you do like the special combo with like the red style and the blue style, and then with the blue style, you get to do this, launch them up into the air, and do whatever juggle combos you want. Here, I kept it kind of simple, just kind of did like a basic one combo. And you can also do this and like re-loop them in the air. You'll get hit once or twice and that'll be fine. However, if you want to do like a juggle combo, don't do the special combo in the air with the red style. The red style, the enemy just kind of floats back down to the ground faster. It's like gravity starts working again. And now here, we're gonna need to do this a lot to like recharge our heat, and by this point, I have fully like mastered the Flux Fixture moveset, so I'm never really gonna fail with it from here on out. But the dangerous thing about Kuroiwa, okay, sometimes if you like immediately tiger drop him when he like gets up after a heat action, sometimes, you know, it'll just miss. Or sometimes it'll just straight up block your tiger drop. Like, I mean, the last person I've seen block a tiger drop is Joamon. So Joamon and Kuroiwa here are able to block a tiger drop. And also this move here, it works sometimes if like you time it well, but other times not so much. And see, like a dangerous move, okay, see that move right there, if you like attack him just straight ahead, like forward, without waiting for him to like attack first, he's just gonna do like that slide counter, and that slide counter can clip you so hard. Like he's even doing the slide counter when I'm doing like the walled heavy attack jump. I got a hiccup there, oh my goodness. See, the move there I did, it was kind of risky, because you do need to do like an attack to do that like charge move, but sometimes if you do an attack without like waiting for him to attack first, he'll just, you know, counter you, and then boom, you get hit, and it's like all for naught. Like I don't know how to explain what the right timing for doing the charge, like, you know, light attack, heavy attack with Tiger is, but there is a right timing for it. Usually it's after he does an attack, you know, he'll like, but sometimes after he does an attack and you do like that maneuver, he'll dodge it and then you immediately have to dodge him. But he won't counter you most of the time. See, it's like it's not 100% consistent with anything you do here. And now for the police, boom, we're gonna go into heat mode and we're going to like demolish them. And the thing about demolishing them in heat mode is I don't think my heat mode shenanigans here are as cool as the heat mode shenanigans I did in like my first Judge Eyes video, but I mean, are they as cool? I mean, I'm at least like bringing in some normal combos here, and I am switching like pretty consistently between them, and boom, I knocked away a lot of policemen. Like, I mean, I am still doing a ton of cool stuff. It's just that like a lot of this tech has been found out by now. It's been like 2 years since like Judge Eyes came out. As for how many years it's been since Judgment came out, probably still 2 years. Hell, it's probably been longer. It's probably been like 3 years. I don't know. I mean, like it's been a while. It's 2023. A lot of great things in store this year. For one, I'm going to keep a mustache this time, or at least try to, but I have to style it before that reaches its full potential. And now here, I'm going to try to keep the crane heat action to just one use. I don't want to like spam heat actions in this video. I mean, I used to kind of do that in my Judge Eyes video, but here, you know, we're doing better. We're not going to spam like the heat action. You know, I did that heat action once. We're not going to do that again in this fight against the police. However, I will be doing it again in the second fight with the police, which is a shorter group, but still just as deadly. In fact, the next fight that comes up is way more annoying than this one, because at least with this one, it's easy to rebuild up your heat. Though watch out, once the enemies like reach a certain like threshold or like of health or like group or whatever, this is the last time I do this heat action, by the way, because this is the last fight I have with Kaito-san. But, yeah, no. Like I was saying, right, this is the same recording, and like I was saying, when the enemies, like, here reach a certain threshold, they'll just pull out guns. And this is true for the next fight and the fight after the next fight, which is like the next fight. I don't know if there's like a certain phrase for that, because like there's a phrase for when it's been like a week and 4 days and it's called Fortnite. I don't even think that's what the phrase Fortnite means, but yeah. And now this fight, this is the last fight which I upgrade myself to level 1 for. And here I'm going to let you in on a little fun fact. So in order to get to this fight, you do have to do like a bit of a long battle of sorts. However, I kind of cheese the long battle by abusing the extracts when I fight enemy groups. So like there's one extract that's like an insta-kill. And that insta-kill extract eliminates an entire group of enemies if like there's no boss fights in that group of enemies. You know, like no enemies with like a boss fight health bar, like that one at the bottom of the screen. If there's no enemies like that, they're all going to die if you use the insta-kill, like, you know, move. The extract, because it's just like it covers the entire arena no matter how far away the enemy is, no matter if they're blocking or not, because like they don't have like boss thresholds, so they're all going to die. And like this fight is so incredibly annoying. Like both of the boss fight enemies in this group have like the worst movesets known to man. You have the one guy who has like the really fast Yakuza moveset, which is obnoxious to deal with. I don't know who like invented that moveset, but it is awful, and all the tough boss fights use it in like side content, but they decided to bring over the side content into the main content. And this guy using like a version of Kanai's moveset that's worse and more annoying. So it's just like, you know, Kanai, he has like that one move that's like super tiger droppable, but this guy decided to like include another move that's like not as tiger droppable or like as easy to tiger drop. It's just incredibly annoying. Now here, this is some insanely sick skills. Like I juggle him and then I actually manage to do like this heat action, which eliminates these 3 police officers, but still gives me enough heat to do a combo on the boss fight and like, you know, take him out. Like, I don't know if this is like a piece of tech I've mentioned before, but like if you still have a little bit of health, you can switch over to a style and just like use up the rest of your combo for like, you know, one last hit. You know, like my heat already ran out, but if I keep doing the combo and like, you know, it'll only run out once the combo ends, which is just like crazy. Now here, I mentioned that like I put in music in these videos, and it's because I play these games on mute. However, if you mute the music, in certain cutscenes, music is still going to show up. So like here, I actually put a song over the scene, but the original scene soundtrack is still playing, and I don't know if like you can hear the original soundtrack or not, because like I know it exists, and it kind of like messes up the rhythm of the song I put over this scene. But I also like, I made this audio super low because like the only things I wanted to be audible in this scene is like the explosions and like the gunshots and all that. I don't really care about some of the smaller sounds, like the song they have playing throughout this scene. So yeah, just let me know how that goes in like the no commentary. So now I'm going to talk about Steam Deck glitches, because it's not all sunshines and rainbows with Windows 10. I feel anyone familiar with Windows is very familiar with that statement. So there came a point where like every second or third game, where like, you know, every second or third time the game booted me to like the main menu after I died, because that's what happens on Legend if you die, it would crash my Steam Deck, you know, like a Windows crash where the blue screen pops up and there's like a sad face, you know, like ... sad. And it's like every time I got sent to the main menu, like the second or third time it happened. And here I'm going to do like a crane combo for pretty light, you know, pretty easy, just kind of go for a nice little start. But let me get back to the glitch. So then there came a point where like one of the crashes was so bad that I couldn't play Roblox Eyes anymore because I didn't meet the minimum requirements. Like every time I started up the game on Steam, it said I didn't meet the minimum requirements and the window refused to open. So I reinstalled the Steam Deck Windows Aerith AMD driver again. Like if you've ever played Final Fantasy VII Aerith, the driver's called the same thing for like the Steam Deck. I don't know, there's like this one Steam forum page which has like all the drivers you need to like make Windows 10 work on the Steam Deck, and one of them is like the AMD Windows driver. So I reinstalled it and that worked, and the game stopped crashing for a bit, but only for a bit. So because the problem appeared again when I reached the police group fight. Like my game still didn't crash for a good long while, but randomly when it was trying to like load in the fight, my thing crashed. So I was like, what? And then later on in like one of the future fights in this video, like, you know, when I was fighting Kuroiwa, when I did a heat action, my game crashed and did the noise. Like it was like one of those creepypasta videos, and I was like terrified. I was like, what? Why are you doing this? Like, what is going on here? This is scary. It's crazy that I got tased while I'm fighting the guy who has like a taser for a weapon. Well, like a big stick taser, but you know, you get the point. Like when I say tased, I mean I got tased in real life. That's why it sounded like that. And that tasing has made me remember something. So with the extract, so sometimes I would use the insta-kill extract to like, you know, instantly defeat a massive group. In fact, if you use the insta-kill extract to like fight the first round of police, you kill all of them and you instantly go to the second fight. But I want to enter the boss fights with like my dance fighter extract like already drunken. So here's a little neat trick you can do. So while you're doing the attack for the insta-kill one, you can actually like drink the dancer one and still do the insta-kill attack because you're already like in the middle of doing it. Like switching to another extract while you're in the middle of doing an attack from another extract doesn't like cancel out the attack. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. You know, you get to switch to the other extract and like enter the next fight, you know, with the other extract like, you know, drunken, but still do that insta-kill attack and kill all the enemies. Because it's like once you do that insta-kill attack with like in the first round of police, you pretty much like instantly go to like the second fight. And mind you, I only use the insta-kill extract once I like no damage that first police fight. You know, just because like that second one is so frustrating. And also for this fight, I want there to be no confusion. This was a level 0 fight. This one right here. The fight before, that was level 1, but this is a level 0. This is Kuroiwa Omega, brought to life by Android the Merc's contributions. And I'm going to start this fight off with this heat action, which isn't exactly optimal, but I think it's a cool way to start the fight. And once I do this heat action, I'm going to spend the rest of this first phase kind of like building up my heat mode again by spamming the tiger drop. So like I do this move, which it drops him to the ground. And the great thing about this heat action is that it always drops him in this corner, because like certain heat actions in this game are a little inconsistent on where the enemy is going to be dropped, or whether the camera is going to pull back behind you, or like just immediately cut to you in a different location. You know, it's like it's a little inconsistent. But with this heat action, I don't know, like the way they coded it, he's always going to be there. And like, yeah, tiger dropping him in the corner isn't always going to work like infinitely. There might be a time where like the positioning's a little weird, so like he just kind of breaks out of it like he did here. And now I'm going to try to build up more heat by doing the little combo thing, but I'm really struggling with it because every time I do it, he like dodges away. Like he's probably gonna do it now. Like when he does this combo, that's a good time to do it, because like either it's gonna work or that's gonna happen. And when that happens, you dodge the attack. But when it works, it works. So that one was a little risky when I did it there, but I got my heat back, you know, and it's like I never wasted it, you know, it's like I'm brand new. So like spamming Tiger Drop after doing that heat action, you know, very nice. And once again, a level 0 run, though I will say some people do this fight and the next fight in one go. I don't do that. I treat them as separate fights because they were kind of driving me insane, because like Kuroiwa, you know, it's a great fight, but it is so annoying to no damage because he just has a bunch of moves that can clip you out of nowhere, and it's just like, ooh, he can get really tough to fight. Like, this is a struggle. But yeah, Kuroiwa Omega. Why is he Kuroiwa Omega? It's because Omega is the last letter of the Greek alphabet. It means the finale. Now, some people say it's like the last one, so it's not like an alpha, but the finale means the end of all things. But the end of all things is always the grandest of all things, because why would it be at the end? And that's what Kuroiwa Omega here. It's a super form. It's like he was trying to be like Roblox Yagami. He tapped into his negativity, but it ended up screwing him over. He doesn't have a face anymore. He's become completely evil. So evil, in fact, that once I do this move, he's not even stunned. He breaks the rules of the game. He's that evil. Like, we have to go like far and beyond our normal prowess just to make him follow the rules of reality. That is the power of Kuroiwa Omega, a truly terrifying foe. And it becomes even scarier in the sequels because the Roblox series here, unlike the original like Judge Eye's Judgment series, follows a non-linear timeline order, because he affects the third game. When Joe Biden says, if you do not vote for me, you are not black, he didn't say that because he wanted to. He said that because Kuroiwa Omega forced him to say that. He's the reason for all the time travel shenanigans in the third game. He's that evil. He's like the inherent sin of the Judgment series, which is just like, he did all that for power and not the one you're thinking about. It goes deeper than that. Just like, it gets crazy. I do kind of want to talk about the fight more, and also there is something I want to mention, which you've probably seen it before. It's when Yagami's like lighting got all glitched out during the QT. See, so that happens most of the time that QT happens, but sometimes the lighting is not screwed over, and the lighting only gets screwed over when he like slides over the glass, when he like gets kicked out of the building and like slides back in. Most of the time, that's when the lighting gets screwed up. But during this attempt, they decided, you know what, we're gonna screw up the lighting, the lighting even earlier than that. But then there's even rarer times where out of nowhere they decide, you know what, the lighting's never gonna get screwed up. But like those moments are so rare, so like in order to do a no damage to get that specific result is just insanely aggravating. I don't plan on it. I actually forget how I end this fight. Oh right, I try to end this fight just by struggling a ton, just trying to throw him from the wall. And see, like, I remember saying that this is not something you want to do because like Kuroiwa just kind of dodges most of it, and this is like my evidence here. Like, look how many times he like dodges, blocks it, or just doesn't let me do it. And I just decided to end it. You know what? We're gonna end it with a Tiger Drop. That's just how it has to be. So here is where Kuroiwa Omega will die. Even though he'll affect events in the future of the series, this is his canonical like timeline death. And the thing about this death is that at the beginning of this fight, I am depending on something to happen, which doesn't happen. Wait, actually, I'm actually not sure if it happens or not. Okay, let's see. So I'm waiting on something to happen. I really want him to stab himself with a syringe because it allows me to deal more damage. See, this is the animation I want, but he doesn't always do this animation when this fight starts, because if he does the other animation, what I'm doing here, you can't really do it because he gets knocked down like the first time you do it instead of the second time. It just lets you deal more damage when he's like stabbing himself with a syringe because he has like more, he just tanks it more. And then from there, when he actually is stunned when you do that move, this is the combo you can do against him. See, I tried to do that in the first phase, but for some reason he decided, you know what, I'm not gonna let you do it. Like in 9 times out of 10, like that will stun him, but the 1/10th, I don't know how to pronounce that, like the 1/10, then he breaks out of it. But 9 times out of 10, it will work like it's doing here. And then I'm going to end my combo with this heat action. And that's how we do it. And, like, I don't really know what else to say about this fight. I think I've pretty much covered everything I want to do. But, like, from here on out, I just need to build up heat, kind of do heat actions, you know, tiger drop, like, counter his special moves, and boom, see? Like, I mean, the positioning was weird, but I actually landed the tiger drop at that time, which is very, very nice. Oh yeah, you may have noticed that Sugihura here, that's not how you pronounce his name, I'm so sorry about that, but he's in blocks mode. Why is he in blocks mode while the rest of the cast hasn't unleashed their blocks mode yet? Well, after this fight, Kaito also unleashes his blocks mode, however, the Joker man, he has a bit of a tragic aspect to like his blocks transformation, and this is where Animorphs comes back in, because just like in Animorphs, he had to go into his blocks mode because his mortal coil was like dying. Kuroiwa Omega wounded him in such a way where if he stayed human, he would die permanently for real. So he had to go into Roblox mode, but he had to give up his humanity to do it. So he in turn has become the Eternal Hawk. You can take that as you will, but that's kind of like the tragic aspect to his blocks transformation. Kaito found salvation while Sugihura has found an eternal prison. He comes to terms with it later on in the series, but you know, it is a little bit of a tragic aspect to him, to his character in the Roblox series, which isn't really present in the original like Judge Eyes and Judgment games. And here I'm just trying to really I've been struggling to land this move, but I do land it, and now what I'm really happy about is that there's 2 different heat actions of the couch. There's one where if he's laying on the ground, you do this, and this is sick. However, if he's standing up completely, you do another heat action that isn't nearly as sick as that. And like that's not the one I wanted to do. And then from here, it's like it's just easy going. Like the video's done at this point. Like, and I'm gonna do the Akiyama heat action. He did steal it from Akiyama. However, I kind of like it when Yagami does it better, because here there's like a condition to do this move whenever you have heat. While with Akiyama, you can only really do this move if you had like the red heat thing in like Yakuza 5, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But yeah, this is my video. Thank you so much for watching me no damage all the boss fights in Roblox Eyes, and I will see you then for whatever 2013 may have in store for this channel. 2023, I don't want to jump back a decade, that would suck, but yeah, I will see you all then.
You.